Hi, I'm Evelyn Villette, the Director of the Office of Service and Justice. And today you'll see a video that will highlight 3 programs in our office: the Refugee Sponsorship Program, Migrant Ministry, and our Prison Ministry Program.
My name is Yusuf. I'm from Iraq. I used to live in the capital of Iraq, Baghdad. Then my father used to work in a church as a security guard. Then a man on a motorcycle, he just came to him and he just told him, if you don't leave, your children are dead. And then we went to Syria. Then after a while, like 3 months in Syria, the war started in Syria too. So it was so tough for us. 3 years and we not have that enough money to survive after 3 years. Then my father decided, okay, we are going back to Iraq again. Then when we get the phone call, I felt real safe and there's a future. You know, when we were a child, we used to go to church every day. Then we work for the church. Then we have that faith that God is with us. Christ the Redeemer Church were really nice people. They were there for me in the airport the first night. Then they kept help us with the English, and they register me and my sister in the school. They help us to find the jobs for me and my father. And they are still helping us actually. They just keep connect with us. If we need any help, I can call them. No, really, I just want to thank them. They were really helpful for us.
My name is Omar Mohammed, and I'm from Chilliwack. I live in a halfway house. I'm a lifer. I've had addiction issues since I was 12. I've served 38 years on prison and parole. And I came into contact by going to church in an institution about 8 years ago. And there was Catholic Charity volunteers there. And coming from an old convict, it was strange in a good way to have people talk in a kind manner. That's something that we're just not used to. And I continued going to church, met with volunteers, and this continued when I was granted parole 5 years ago. And I've met with Catholic Charity volunteers on a fairly regular basis ever since. And they've had a big impact in my life in that they were my friends. I went to church with them. They were a good role model for me. And it's not just me. I know I can speak for a lot of prisoners inside that come into contact with Catholic Charities. And it can't be understated what a life-changing experience it can be for some guys.
I recruit volunteers for prison ministry, for supporting released offenders into the community, and to working with offenders and their families and victims of crime. I would really like to speak to the general population, people who haven't been to prison before, to motivate them to volunteer with Catholic Charities. If you ask most of them what they think of prisons, they'll say it's a dark, scary place. But if you ask prison volunteers to name the place that they visit that's most rewarding and fulfilling, they will probably answer prison. They find the face of Jesus in very unlikely places and people. And if only we could get this message across about prison ministry, that is the most rewarding and fulfilling place. And all the recent studies in North America show that prison ministry is the #1 ministry in parish outreach, and encourage everyone to let go of what they've heard in the media and the fear and just come and experience the presence of God in those who have been redeemed and are forgiven by God. Part of our human family, and we tend to exclude them.
I'm Margaret Kingsland, and I'm a prison volunteer. I've been volunteering in the prison for about 15 years. We've had many volunteers saying that when we used to come in once a week, and they would say that they've been looking for us all week, and they're happy to see us. When you mention it, a lot of people right away will think, oh, you go into the prisons. And I guess from a selfish point of view, one of the things is my own personal growth, that I have grown as a person since I've been in there. I've learned to be more caring, more loving, and it's made me more conscious of God's love, and we want to pass on God's love to all the men there. I'd invite anyone that wants to grow and that loves God and wants to spread God's word and love people to come into the prisons, because that is such a strong way of spreading His word, His love.
When we're in prison, and although we're guilty for what we've done, it's hard to look around and see God. You know, when there's huge amounts of prison violence and lockdowns and all that, and it's really hard to see God. And I've come to the conclusion that the Catholic charity volunteers are almost representing God when they come into these guys. And then we can see, this is what the Bible talks about, love. And we get to see, excuse me, we get to see God in a way by these good people coming in. So, like I say, it's life-changing. And, you know, I thank everybody.
My name's Richard Zanotti, and I'm pastor of Our Lady of Sorrows Church. I'm also a member of a religious community called Scalabrinians. I work in the Archdiocese in different ways, certainly in the parish where I'm assigned. We outreach to communities that speak Spanish and celebrate Mass and sacraments with them. But also, I've been asked to outreach to some of the more vulnerable migrants in the Archdiocese, who are the temporary workers, the seasonal workers. And I really, I believe that, you know, you can tell the character of a society by the way that it treats its most vulnerable members. And if we want to know who those vulnerable members are, we can go to the 25th chapter of Matthew, and there's a listing there. It's in them that we find Christ, that we see Christ in them. Probably some of the most vulnerable migrants right now are the temporary workers and the seasonal workers. The temporary workers are people that come from many different countries and work in, they're caregivers, they're nannies. Some of them work in fast food restaurants and hotels. And at this particular time, they're in a very difficult situation because the media portrays them as coming to steal jobs of the Canadians and so on. And also the seasonal workers, the men that come out and pick the fruits and vegetables that we eat, and are separated from their families, isolated in farms. We try to reach out to them certainly with spiritual support, but also with human and material support when we can. We're trying to make this a parish-based ministry. In other words, that lay people in the parishes become aware of these needs. And because we have so many good Catholic folks who are generous and willing to help, once they see the need, they mobilize and organize themselves in reaching out to them in many different ways. through the Office of Service and Justice, we have prepared manuals, and we have information sessions that we run to help people enter into this sort of ministry of supporting both the temporary workers and the seasonal workers. But it's parish-based. And there are priests as well who celebrate in the different languages and support this kind of ministry.
Thank you so much for watching the video, and we hope you learned more about the Office of Service and Justice and its very important mission in our Archdiocese. If you'd like to learn more about this office or some of our programs, please visit us at www.rcav.org. Thank you.